The tension here is palpable, and some have already pledged to be out again tonight. Michelle Clifford, Sky News, Tottenham.
The Sky's crime correspondent Martin Brunt is in Tottenham. And Martin, clearly strong local feelings about both relations with the police and the events of last night.
There is indeed. There's quite a gathering of 200 or 300 people here, and probably the same at the other end of this police cordon. People have gathered for a number of reasons, but to assess the damage is a principal reason, but not just the damage physically, the damage to police-community relations. And I have with me two leading lights from the community here. The first, let me turn to Stafford. Stafford Scott, you're a leading member of the community. You were here last night and watched things develop. What's your view of why and how it happened?
I mean, first of all, I'm an active member of the community, and the reason I believe it happened is because police have paid due disregard to the feelings of the family of the young man that was killed on Thursday evening.
You mean they weren't quick enough to come and help them and advise them?
By that I mean that up until now they haven't come and helped them and advised them. They haven't met with any family liaison officers at all. And we were absolutely disgusted by that. So we decided that we needed to come to Tottenham Police Station, because they may not be aware that a murder has been committed. Because we know that if they were aware of a murder being committed, the process, their legislation, their guidelines says they have to set up and send out an FLO. And because they didn't, we came to the station. We came to the station to have a peaceful demonstration, and it was largely peaceful. And what we explained to the police was that we wanted someone senior from the police service to come and explain to us what was happening.
And what did they say to that?
They kept on prevaricating. The most senior person they gave us was a chief inspector, and we said that that person wasn't senior enough. We wanted a senior ranking officer of superintendent or above. Eventually they sent for a superintendent, but by then it was too late. We had told them, don't prevaricate. We wanted to hear what was happening so we could explain to the community what was taking place.
You said by then it was too late, but are you suggesting that's why the violence erupted as it did?
I'm telling you that had they dealt with us early in the day, we would have removed ourselves. We would have removed ourselves from this area. We would have gone back to Broadwater Farm. I specifically told a chief inspector that we didn't want to be out here when nightfall came. We wanted to take it back to the farm. And I warned him that if he kept on prevaricating and forced us to stay till night time, because we were intent on staying until a senior officer came, then it would have to be on the police head what happened.
You're almost suggesting that no lessons have been learned since 1985, although a lot of people today tell us here that this isn't the same as 1985. What's your view?
Those people who tell you it's not the same as 1985 were not here in 1985. It's absolutely the same as 1985. 1985 was sparked by the death of a black woman, and the police trying to cover up that death. The police trying to suggest that she died because of her weight. She died because she...
I'm afraid we have...
Today, they're trying to cover up Mark's killing as well. We do not believe that Mark was bad enough or mad enough to come out of a car and want to shoot at armed police officers. Our evidence, our information is telling us that if the gun that was found there was actually found in a sock, meaning that it wasn't prepared for action. So we can't believe that anyone would think that they was going to shoot at somebody through a sock. It's absolute craziness.
Those are the kind of answers you're asking for. Do you not accept, though, that sometimes it's difficult to be precise within 48 hours
let me be
about
absolutely
exactly
clear.
what happened?
Let me be absolutely clear. This is the borough where we've seen the death of Mrs. Cynthia Jarrett, Joy Gardner and Roger Sylvester. Roger Sylvester's inquest took about 4 years to be held, so we know that nothing happens quickly. But by God, don't our parents deserve the same as any parents? No matter what people want to say Mark was, when we hear you talk about the army on TV or a death that's happening in Afghanistan, it always says that you're not going to name the person until their parents have been informed. In this case here, their parents are reading about everything in the newspaper. They're seeing it all on the media. Nobody from officialdom has gone to them and said to them, your child was killed on Ferry Lane. Nobody has done that.
If that damage has been done, how do you repair that damage now? Because the great fear is that there'll be violent scenes again tonight. What can be done in the next few hours?
I do not believe that there's going to be any violent scenes here tonight. What happened yesterday was a combustion. It was just an outburst because people saw, spontaneous outburst, because people saw we'd been here for 4 hours. Women were leading the demonstration. When the women said, look, 4 hours, our kids are now tired, we're going home. When the boys saw, or the guys saw the women leaving, that's when the guy said, wow, we've been here for 4 hours and nothing's happened. Nothing's changed, they haven't come to speak to us. And then when they saw some police cars, which for some reason were just parked up, unmanned, that was like a red flag to a bull, and they just had to go. I think that, A, if the police had been more responsive to us as a community, we would have gone and it wouldn't have happened, and B, if the police had been more responsive at the first outset of violence, it may not have happened. But people need to realise a lot of things are being said. It's not the same as 85. In this community, for these kids, everything is the same as 85. If you look at all the stats, they're all the same as 85. How often they get stopped and searched has actually gone up. Unemployment against young people has actually gone up since 85. Getting kicked out of school is the same or similarly higher since 85. Nothing has improved for the livelihoods of young black people who happen to find themselves growing up on estates like Broadwater Farm.
Staffer Scott, thank you for the moment. I must bring in the Reverend Nims Abunge. Let's just pick up on that point that Mr. Scott was making. Talking about disillusioned, disadvantaged children, you've had big cuts in youth services. How important a part has that played, do you think, in what happened last night?
Well, I mean, clearly, yes, there's been a 75% cut in youth services, but one thing I do want to point out is this. This is not our community. Our community don't want to burn up our streets. Our community don't want to tear down they don't want to tear down the fiber that we're trying to build up. But it is
somebody was last night.
Yes, I'm trying. But that's the question. The question is, was it only our young people? The question is, have we understood the challenges our community have been going through over the number of years? I mean, it is sad that 8 officers have been affected. It's sad that we've had the destruction in our community. The post office has gone in so many other places. But I think what is so vital, bringing back Stafford's point, I was here with Stafford, trying to see how we could ensure the family got the appropriate support. That was not provided for. It is right now, I've spoken with the IPCC commissioner. You talked about the way forward. It is important that the IPCC commissioner does what she needs to do in order to give this community answers. And those are what we need to know is what exactly happened. What we need to do is ensure that the independent family liaison officers or management team go to the families, give them that support that they say that they need. It is important that we understand that the young people that are really offended by the death of another young person in this community feel that justice, whatever it might be, is served.
But everybody talks today about wanting justice. What exactly do they mean when they ask that? Are you saying
truth.
The family...
They want truth.
The family's still not getting any support from the police?
I was with the mother. And she said something to me. She said, how can I tell my children that their father has been killed? She said, I have not yet been able to tell my children that their father has been killed. That got to me. She is a mother of a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. How can she tell them? Now, she needs support to get that message across. Okay. And so essentially, what we had was a lot of people who were quite upset. But one thing I will say, the family were not involved in the incident that happened, and that is they left this place. They were not involved in the incident that happened, and we've got to make sure that that message gets across. The family does not support the burning down of property.
Okay, one final thought. We must wrap up shortly. What do you think needs to be done in the next few hours to avoid repeats of that violent level last night?
I think one thing about our community is we're a resilient community. We've survived a lot of things, and London's a resilient community. We have to think about rebuilding what already is a broken down experience for all of us. The police need to give reassuring messages. The IPCC needs to give a very strong reassuring message. And ultimately, what we need to do is stand there and be there for our community. And, it is going to... I can't promise, Stafford said it quite candidly, I can't promise that something may not still kick off. Because some people are still, there are some mischievous ones, I'm not going to deny that. Mischievous may be the wrong word, but there's some people who are hurting, some young people who feel we've not got a message out there enough. We need to protect them from further destructions.
And there is no quick fix.
There isn't.
That's part of the problem. They keep on looking for a quick fix. There isn't one. They need to be hard on the causes of the frustration of these young people and give them some hope and aspirations for the future.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We must leave it there. Well, plenty to debate, and I'm sure the issues that the two gentlemen have just been talking about will be explored for the rest of today and for many days to come. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Martin. Well, Sky's Home Affairs correspondent Mark White is here in the studios listening to those interviews. Interesting points both of those men made. The Broadwater Farm riots were raised there and comparisons being drawn with what happened there. Do you think that that's a fair assessment to link the two?
Well, in the sense that there are still underlying tensions within the community, yes. There have been improvements. There have been improvements in policing, in the form of neighbourhood policing, for instance. There have also been numerous community outreach programmes which, coupled together, have improved the situation. But what you've also had in recent years are some fairly high-profile, robust initiatives to tackle knife crime and gun crime within these communities. And that's meant there have been a significant increase in the likes of stop and search powers, people in these communities claiming that they are unfairly targeted by police officers in these operations. Now that has had the opposite effect of the good work that's been done and has actually increased tensions. All it required was a spark. That happened on Thursday night, of course, with the shooting of this man, Mark Duggan.
Now, people are saying that they want an investigation into his death. There is an IPCC investigation ongoing. What's the format for that, and how involved will the family be? Because that seems to be the recurrent theme, that the family really aren't having the communication with the police.
There's a difficulty here. People want answers from the police, but the fact is, when the IPCC investigation is active, that means that the police are essentially forbidden from speaking publicly about this incident. So any comment on the ongoing investigation has to come from the Independent Police Complaints Commission. Even as far as liaising with the family is concerned, that's now the role of the Independent Police Complaints Commission. They've put out a statement saying they have spoken to the family, they will continue to speak to the family, but also it's not a quick process getting answers to what happened on Thursday night. They've got witnesses to speak to, they've got forensics to carry out to determine exactly what happened with this apparent exchange of gunfire.
And, of course, looking ahead to tonight, that is a concern of a lot of local residents. We saw the rain starting to come down there. That may well dampen things down a little.
Yeah, I mean, it is a real concern. I mean, what everyone is hoping is that there won't be a repeat of the scenes that you're seeing on the screen there. The rain would be a help as far as the police are concerned. It certainly is tried and tested in terms of dampening people's enthusiasm for continuing on with violent activities. But having said that, there is certainly a real potential out there for more violence. Last night there was an orchestrated element to it, with people using social networking sites, Facebook, Twitter, appealing for people from other parts of London to come in to stand up to the police. And according to local reports, there were people from outside that area who were in and taking part in the trouble. Now, if that kind of thing happens again tonight, then it could be very serious indeed. The hope is that everyone will take a step back, that even the people that took part in the violence, seeing in the cold light of day the destruction that's happened throughout Tottenham, may just take a step back and think, okay, you know, cool heads are required. And certainly there will be many cooler, wiser heads, older, wiser heads in the community, urging these young hotheads to take a step back.
Mark, thanks very much for the time being. Our Home Affairs correspondent there, Mark White. This is Sky News on our website, skynews.com. Read our reporter's account of how a night of violence unfolded in North London. Also coming up,